What's up, YouTube? Chris coming to you with another exciting episode of the Escape from Alcatraz vlog. Today, we will be talking about the swim portion of the triathlon. So, I'm going to go into a little bit of my background in swimming, which is very limited, so that part should be quite short, and then explaining a little bit about the mechanics of swimming. Then, I'll go into the details of the training that I did leading up to the prep that I'm currently doing and the training that I'll be doing during the prep for the actual race. So let's go a little bit into my background in swimming. So I learned how to swim. I'm aware of how not to drown. And that was pretty much the extent of my swimming abilities before I started training for triathlons, period. But whenever I got into the pool for my first like actual, swim workout training for the first triathlon, I could barely get from one side of the pool to the other without gasping for breath. So I was pretty bad at swimming, I found out quickly, which was very bad because I held off on training for swimming for the first triathlon for quite a bit. So I did not do very much swimming training, which was pretty bad. So I decided to, start to do some research, figure out what I needed to do to make myself better at swimming. And I think my biggest problem starting out was just breathing. I just didn't know how to breathe in the water because it is very different than running or cycling. You don't always have access to air because you're underwater a lot of the time. So you have to figure out how to breathe, when to breathe, the proper timing. So after that, I decided to start watching a few videos on how to swim, get some actual swim workouts. And I figured what I needed to do, first of all, was just swim, no matter how bad I was at it. So that's what I did for probably like a month or so. I got in the pool about twice a week and just kind of swam as much as I could and kind of try to do proper technique that I looked up, which I'll kind of go into a little bit later. And I actually didn't improve at all for like 4 or 5 weeks. And then one day, I don't know, something just clicked and I did like 5 laps back and forth, no problem. So don't really know what to tell you there. If you suck at swimming, just keep trying to do it, I guess. So now I'll get into some of the kind of basic mechanics of how swimming works. This is actually from Ross Edgley's book Blueprint because he is a swimmer for the most part. He did do a swim around all of the UK, so I kind of trust his opinions and advice on swimming. So your performance is basically decided by two things: resistance and propulsion. Resistance is the forces acting against you, so that would be your shape and your posture in the water. And your proportion is what drives you forward. That would be your leg kick and your arm stroke. So as you can see by Swimmer Man down here, that actually kind of looks like me, except he has much larger calves. This breaks down the front crawl, which is also known as freestyle. This is what people usually do whenever they swim. Or you want to be as straight as possible. You'd be in a hydrodynamic position here as opposed to an aerodynamic position because you don't have wind resistance, you have water resistance. So you're in a hydrodynamic position. You want to keep your hips up out of the water, your chest kind of pressed down to balance that out. Keep your head facing down and kind of lower in the water, and keeping the front half of your body down helps keep the back half of your body up because the back half of your body tends to drag. Mine does, especially because I do have big old meaty quads, which drag me down. I don't have any excuse for my calves being dragged down, I guess. And you basically do the swimming motion that you see everybody do every time they swim in a movie or anything. Basically, if they have any idea how to swim whatsoever, it's one arm up over the other, kind of like a little rudder motion with each side of your body. You want to keep your hands in a very flat position because you're essentially using your hands to grab the water, pull it across from you, and create force that way. So you're pulling through the water. And then you want to pull your elbow high out of the water so that you're not creating any resistance from that. And then kind of slice down into the water in the front as he's doing right here so that you're just cutting straight through the water. So the whole idea here is to create as little resistance as possible by keeping your body straight in the water, and then to create as much propulsion as possible with your arm stroke and your leg kick. So that brings us into the next part of the video where I'll be talking about the training that I did leading up to the swim. So I did a base cycle, which was not really too much. There was like probably 3 days of swimming in there, mostly just really slow, like technique work and a lot of lifting weights and some really slow running. And then I went into this phase, which is a build cycle. So as you can tell, there's quite a lot of swimming going on here. I actually couldn't swim 6 days a week. That was too much for me. And I definitely was not swimming 10 kilometers in the open water. That was way too much for me. But I was swimming about 5 days a week. And I was alternating between doing basically some speed work and some long swims. So I had a pull, lower body push routine going on. And that was some pretty heavy work capacity exercises that I did on my speed swimming days. So this was basically to build up my capacity for swimming, my work capacity overall. And on that note, we'll go back into the 12-week prep. So this is actually Monday of week 4, and I'm about to go do my swim for this week. And like I said in some of the earlier videos, this week is kind of more race specific and a little bit of a break. As you can tell, things have dropped down. Just trying to swim consistently for about 3/4 of a mile, which is half the race distance. And then I'll have just some 5K sprinting and then a rest day and then like a little light Zwift workout here, just another 30 minute swim, short 30-minute run, and then a really short cycle on Sunday. So I'm kind of glad this week is coming up because the fatigue is actually starting to build up quite significantly. This last week I was very tired and didn't do too well in many of my workouts, to be honest. I think earlier in the week I did all right, but as I got towards the longer workouts at the end of the week, I really started to drag and I didn't end up doing my cycling workout at all. I did cycle to a birthday party at the beach and back, so I kind of counted that as my cycling workout, which that was like 12 miles. So that was, a pretty decent cycle, I guess. So as you can see, the swimming workouts are pretty consistent. You just have a 10-minute warm up, which is pretty important to kind of get loose. And then we do some 25-meter drills. That's just 25 meters, which is one length of the pool essentially. Rest for 20 seconds and then swim back. And those I usually just do with paddles and a pool buoy, which is that little floaty thing that you put in between your legs, basically. So that just allows me to get a lot of arm workout in and train that very specifically. And then I do 50 meters, which consists of 20 meters hard. So basically, me going down one length of the pool pretty much as hard as I can, and then swimming back pretty easily, and then resting for about 20 seconds to recover. That increases each week. So I did 10 reps, then 15, then 20. Those have actually been going surprisingly well. I didn't think that I would be doing too good in those, but I am building up some good endurance, I think, and that's probably from all the work capacity stuff that I did leading up to this prep. And that just increases each week, and then I have like a 5-minute cool down, warm down, whatever you want to call it. And that's just me kind of swimming a little butterfly, a little backstroke, just whatever while I'm in the pool to get my heart rate to come down, get my muscles to rest a little bit, and reactivate the parasympathetic nervous system so that I can relax and recover from the actual workout. And then we'll get into the next 4 weeks, which are pretty similar to the previous 4 weeks. So for this first week, after I come back from that nice long rest, I guess Ross decided the best thing to do is give me 10 by 100, 50 meters hard, 50 meters easy, and then increase the long swim to 60 minutes. So thank you for that. And then after that, it kind of drops down to basically the same as the last couple weeks. So we have the 10 by 25 drills, then we go to the 15 by 50, 20 by 50, and we're back to the 45-minute long swims. And then the fourth week is going to be more of the same. So it's 50% of the race distance again, which hopefully this time will be easier than last. And then another shorter 30-minute. And then we get into week 9 and week 10, which is some longer distance for a lower amount of reps. So we're kind of getting me ready to swim that long distance all at once. And then week 10 is basically the same thing, except it's increased a little bit. The long swims are bumped up to an hour each because I'm swimming on the higher end. And at this point, hopefully, I can get in the open water. I do live right next to the ocean. I don't really know how confident I feel swimming in the ocean, honestly, though, but hopefully I can force myself to get in the open water on those days because that's going to be really beneficial for me since the swim itself is going to be in the open water and the San Francisco Bay is going to be much more harsh than Santa Monica Beach. And then we come to week 11, which is basically just a continuation. We're going up to 10 by 100 hard. So I'm trying to get fast for a longer distance here. And we've got another 60-minute workout that week. And then we get into the actual race week. So we have the race on Sunday this week. And we just have some 50-meter drills here, some 50-meter sprints at my goal race pace, which honestly, I don't even know what my race pace is. And then the next swim specific day is just 15 minutes, basically, with a little bit of sprinting in there. So this isn't really a workout. This is something to just get my body in the water. This Friday and Saturday is pretty much just to, get the body ready for swimming and cycling and running right before the race day. So it's not meant to be an actual workout. It's not meant to be hard at all. It's just meant to get you kind of in the mindset and get your body ready for the actual race. So that's the general overview of the swimming portion of my race prep, kind of a little bit of my background in swimming and some of the mechanics that I've learned in swimming. And I am by no means an expert on swimming whatsoever. It is definitely my worst discipline in triathlon, followed very closely by running, but definitely my worst event in the race. And I know that, and that's why for this race specifically, I wanted to train a lot leading up to it because this is a 1.5 mile swim, which is longer than an Olympic distance swim, and it will technically be the longest swim that I've done in an event. And the water and the current in the bay is going to be another element in and of itself. So I anticipate the swim being pretty difficult, honestly. So I want to make sure that I don't feel just completely destroyed when I get out of that and go into the bike. So that wraps up this episode of the Escape from Alcatraz vlog. If you have any questions about swimming or anything like that, you probably shouldn't ask me, honestly, because I really don't know that much about it and I'm not that good at it. I'm pretty much just trying to survive out there. So see you next time. Race distance nonstop, no time or anything really, just trying to swim consistently for let's see, was it a mile and a half?